All right. Well, hopefully everyone is here joining me today. My name is William Schwerin. I'd like to welcome you. I'm coming to you live from Los Angeles on the USC campus, and this is the background of my office. Congratulations on your admission. I work for the Graduate and Professional Programs Office. Senior Assistant Director for Graduate Recruitment. And if you look along the bottom of your screen, you see a number of guests here today, one of which is my colleague Ray Fujioka. He is here as well, and he also works on the USC campus in our graduate programs office. So again, I'd like to thank you all for joining, and again, I'd like to thank my group of current student panelists who are here today as well. So to start off, thank you for all the questions you've submitted. We will get to as many as we can, and I do have some additional questions that I may ask our panelists as the time permits. But without further ado, I'm going to actually let's start and meet our current students that we have here. I would like to start with Walter. If you could just go and tell everyone who's joining us today your name, your major, your hometown, and any other information that helped you choose USC, why you decided to come here.
Hi everyone, once again I'm Walter. I'm studying electrical engineering here at USC. My hometown is Colorado Springs, Colorado. Colorado Springs is it's kind of a medium-sized city south of Denver, and I chose USC for a number of reasons. One large convincing reason for me was that both of my parents attended this university, so I've been really knowledgeable about it ever since I was a kid. And after getting in, I explored a lot of the great engineering programs that are offered here, and that really kind of drove my decision to ultimately come here.
Thanks so much. So Walter's had those Trojan family ties already in place. Trojan family is definitely something that you hear about a lot when you're on campus and a part of USC. We definitely feel like we're one large community. Okay, so next, thank you, Walter. I'll go to Sneha. Sneha, if you can name, hometown, your major, and what brought you to USC.
Okay, hello everyone. I'm Sneha Srinivasan here. I'm a Master of Science student in Computer Science. I'm an international student. I come from India. And what really brought me here is, I think before coming here, I've had a lot of interaction going on with my friends who went to USC, and they'd speak a lot about the university, the opportunities we have here. And particularly, so I got admitted into the data science program, so I've heard a lot about data science as such and the professors in the specialization, and definitely the USC brand name. I keep hearing about that a lot, so I think that's what brought me here, and definitely we do have like a lot of opportunities here, and I'm happy with what I'm doing here.
Great, thank you so much. Next we have Sharon. If you can let us know your major, your hometown, and what brought you to USC.
Cool. Hi guys, I'm Sharon. I am from Bangalore, India, and I am currently pursuing my master's in computer science, and I'm specializing in data science. There are a lot of reasons why I actually came to USC, but two of the major ones being, well, it's in California. It's where the jobs are at, and there is the huge tech scenario going on here, and that is one. The other one is USC is very unique in a way that it offers a specialization in data science. Very few colleges give such opportunity, and these are the two reasons why I came to USC.
Thanks so much, Sharon. Priyanka, you're up. Let's hear about your major, your hometown, and what brought you to USC.
Okay, hi, this is Priyanka, and I'm from a city called Bangalore in India. And I'm pursuing my master's in electrical engineering with a focus on computer networking here at USC. Well, the reasons why I chose USC was because of the brand name. Of course, everybody has heard a lot about USC being one of the top 10 engineering colleges. And when you want to apply to the US, you definitely want to go into one of the great schools. And that was the first and foremost reason why I considered USC. And the second reason being a lot of Trojan support. I'd really had a lot of interactions with a couple of my friends who were already graduates from USC, and they told me how the fellow Trojans really helped them out in building their careers and going ahead there. So that's one of the other reasons. Yeah.
Thanks so much, Priyanka. And finally, last but not least, we have Marco. Thanks for joining us. Marco, if you can let us know, let everyone joining know your major, what hometown you're from, and what brought you to be a Trojan. Oh, don't forget to unmute your mic.
That would help. Hi, so my name is Marco Meyer. I am from San Diego, California, so I'm probably about an hour and a half south of Los Angeles. And I picked USC for a couple reasons. One, I currently am in the construction industry. I'm a third-generation contractor. Construction's been in my family for a long time, and so USC, at least what was explained to me, is they have the largest construction management program. I am a Master of Construction Management degree, and so they have the largest construction management program. The school is located in Los Angeles in Southern California, which is a huge construction industry. And so there's a lot of opportunity to do job walks and attend job sites. And the other reason being, USC is known for their network, the Trojan family. It has a great opportunity to meet professors that are in the industry and interact with students that also want to be in the industry and hopefully are the leaders of this industry. And so those are really the two main reasons why I really wanted to go to USC.
Very good. Thanks so much, Marco. And now, let's dive right into some of the questions now that you have a little bit of background on some of our current students. The first question I would actually like to throw out to one of our data science students. So if Sneha, you don't mind answering just about class size and computer science in general, what's your experience been so far with the class size, and maybe how many hours per week the demand of the coursework is?
Right. My experience so far has been so I've taken one which was the algorithms class, which is like a core requirement, and the class size in that class is more so I would say about 300 to 400 students. But that is because it's like the core requirement and it's required for you to complete your degree, so everyone has to take the class. But this semester I took one of my specialization courses, which is information retrieval, and the class size in that is, I would say, about 100 students, so which is like definitely reduced a lot more. So as you delve deeper into your specialization or whichever path you want to take, the class size definitely kind of reduces in that manner. And the number of hours you put in per week essentially just depends on the credits for that course. So most of the computer science courses are now 4-credit courses, which means you would have to put in about 4 hours per week in lecture hours. And definitely, apart from lecture hours, you have your assignments, which is going to keep you busy. So definitely about another 2 to 3 hours more on that per week.
Okay. Marco, what is your experience in the construction management class size, and then maybe availability of faculty to you?
Yes, so the construction management class sizes. So I want to say most of my classes are around 25 students. They're not very large, and which I enjoy because I have personal interactions and relationships with each of my professors, which I think is helpful in terms of if I want to send him an email if I have questions about homework, he answers quickly. If I have really close relationships in that they even give out their numbers to students, and so I do enjoy the small class size. It's a little more intimate in terms of education and availability. So most of the classes, I think I'm answering this question correctly, most of the classes that I've had are usually in the evenings. So they're like from 3. I have one class that's at 3:30. And then another class that's at 6 o'clock, and so it's really if you're working full time like I am, it makes it really easy to be able to work during the day and still attend class in the evenings. And they don't, I've never had an issue where I haven't been able to get into a class. I've done all my core classes, and so in terms of availability, I think it's very great, and it caters to the working professional.
Okay, great. And then Walter, since you're in Double E, can you answer and talk about the classes that you've had, and then if you're doing a specialization?
Yeah, so to start off, my specialization is signal processing, and I've taken the majority of my course load already here at USC. This is one of my last semesters, and the average class size for Double E will vary as well. And in the beginning of some of my core classes, such as linear algebra or your general statistics class, will have around probably 50 people, and then when you get into some really specialized courses, for example, I'm in digital signal processing laboratory right now, and that's around probably 10 people, 10, 12 people. So and so it'll just kind of vary, and I guess more towards the end you're going to have smaller and smaller class sizes. I think my experiences with faculty have always been fantastic here at USC. They usually host office hours if it's a class where you do assignments weekly, and so typically I go in once or twice a week to see the professor just to chat about the assignment, just to chat about reviewing kind of problems, and then if you're taking a project-based class like Advanced DSP Lab, which I'm in right now, you have to meet the professor every week, and oftentimes more than once a week, and so I'm interacting with my professors constantly in those classes. So I would say that my level of interaction with professors has been pretty high in my classes, and overall the program has been pretty rigorous, and the amount of hours I put in every week has been it kind of varies when there's tests or not, but it's several hours a week.
Thank you for answering. One other question related to classes that I'll select is, what should a student coming to USC, what would you recommend they do to gain the maximum out of professors and resources available at USC? So I'll throw that question out to Walter, if you don't mind answering that one about just what someone preparedness-wise to gain the maximum amount of professors and resources available.
Yeah, in order to gain the kind of that maximal experience, I would say in the beginning of the semester, just go ahead and introduce yourself to the professor and jot down what exactly their office hour times are, and be sure to build that relationship early so that you can have that continuously going and throughout the semester, and you don't feel like you've distanced yourself in the beginning so that you can't go later on in the semester. For me, I think it's always just being on top of the material, and one great resource for that has been the DEN program that Viterbi has, where you can go back and re-watch lectures. So typically after the week is done, I'll re-watch lectures over the weekend, so in the following week I can go see the professor about questions on any material that I had questions about. So that's been always great. And in some of my other classes, I think taking that initiative to just kind of go meet them. Yeah.
Okay, great. I'll actually throw that question out to Sharon as well, if you don't mind answering. From your experience, to gain the maximum amount of professors and resources available at USC for someone coming here for the first time.
Yeah. So in my opinion, I believe attending classes is essential. You get to learn a lot in class, but then if you have like any doubts or you want any more clarification, discussion sessions and office hours are the best place to get them clarified. During office hours, you can approach the professors, the TAs, and they will be able to help you with any questions that you have. Also, one thing I'd like to mention is keep in touch with your professors. Make sure you express your interests, your goals to them, because there is a high chance that they can actually recommend you, like after you finish the course, they can recommend you for a directed research position. So in that way, you will also be able to get like on-campus work, more research experience, and in a way, yeah, just keep constantly in touch with the professors, attend office hours, and yeah, enjoy. And the professors, you don't have to like always talk about studies or courses to them. You can talk literally anything, like how's life in LA, what do they like, what do they do, and yeah, it's a great networking experience.
Okay, thank you so much for answering that question. You mentioned life in LA, so why don't we talk about that right now? So coming into LA, what has been your experience? Any previous preconceived notions that you had, and then maybe something you were surprised about when you first got here, and maybe some things that you enjoyed doing. So I'll direct this question to Sneha, if you don't mind answering. Just your experience coming from where you came from in India to LA, and some of the things you enjoy about LA.
So I think the best part about living in LA is the beach. That's something I like constantly visit. I love to go to the beach because I can like take my mind off my studies and my assignments and just sit by the beach and just enjoy that. And it's not too far, and the city is well connected in terms of public transport. I don't have a car, but I live in downtown, and it's very close to the metro station, and it doesn't take too long. Like you just have to hop on to maybe switch across 2 lines, and then you'd get to the beach. And that's what I love doing at LA. One of the preconceived notions I had about LA was that a lot of my friends told me that it was not too safe if you just walk around by yourself. But then that was totally proven wrong, because now I live in downtown, and it is definitely safe, because I walk to the bus stop, and then I come to campus by myself, and I think it's still safe. And then there are a couple of things to do in downtown. There are a lot of nice restaurants, and then you have the movies right here, and then there's Staples Center. So I've watched I think 2 games until now. One was the Lakers and one was the Clippers game, and I do that too. So that's something I do during my free time, and it helps that Staples Center is like right about 2 hops away from where I stay. And then there are maybe in some weekends you definitely have a lot of the different movie festivals going on, and USC definitely has a lot going on in terms of events. There is definitely something or the other going on at campus. They have movie screenings on campus. You could just sit with a bunch of friends and then watch movies. So when you're not studying, there's definitely a lot to do in LA.
Okay, great. Same question. And then we'll move on. But Priyanka, I'm curious what your experience about Los Angeles has been like, if you don't mind answering that.
Oh yeah, I've not really explored LA as much as the other people here in the panel have, but I have a bunch of friends here up north in California, that's somewhere around the Bay, and I have like a big group of friends, who are put up in San Diego. So I often keep traveling to the Santa Clara and San Diego, and most of the times I do hang around with friends here to the beaches. And I think eateries are one of my hotspot places here in LA. Now that since we are around in the downtown, there's definitely no dearth for it. One of the places I would like to pick out is, I think, the Koreatown. They just have a bunch of eateries out in just about a walkable distance, so it's just convenient. And as Sneha told us, definitely LA is one good place for public transport. So even if you don't own a car all by yourself, you can still manage. But that USC also provides the free Uber transport. That makes life a lot more easier. And we also have some great campus provided facilities to commute around. Like we have the campus trams, and then we have the campus cruisers that are very handy, to go around very nearby places even after it gets dark. So yeah, I think there are some good things to do around in LA. I gotta explore them myself yet.
All right, very cool. Thank you for that. Marco, would you say you need a car to be in LA? I know that you said you're down in San Diego.
Would you need a car? That's an interesting question. I personally like to have a car just because I like to be able to drive around, and so and the things if you don't have a car, from my experience, I'm always happy to take my friends. So if my friends say, "Hey, Marco, we want to go somewhere. Would you mind driving?" I'm always happy to drive, and I feel like other students that would have vehicles and your classmates would be the same way. But I don't think you need a car, no, because again, I do go on the weekends, and I do have a lot of friends at USC, and you have the campus cruiser if you want to get around. If in the evenings, USC does have a system with Uber where they pay for all your Ubers within the USC area. And if you did want to go to like downtown, I think it's like $5 for an Uber ride down there, so it's really not that much. And I think also, and maybe someone would know, but I think they're putting the train station to go basically right to like Adams and USC, and that's supposed to be connecting over to the beaches. So I really don't think you need a car. It's definitely a plus if you have it, because again, if you like to drive around and you want to kind of have that liberty to do it on your own, that's definitely a plus. And so,
yeah, actually, kind of to piggyback on that, May 20th, they're opening that Expo line down to Santa Monica. So that'll start May 20th. You'll be able to take it from USC down to Santa Monica, which would be pretty nice. Okay, thank you for answering that. I want to talk a little bit about housing and hear more about your experience with housing and living expenses. So approximately, from your experience, obviously it's going to vary depending on where you live, the type of apartment that you live in. What will be the living expense in LA, and how easy or hard is it to find housing which is pocket friendly? That's kind of relative, but how easy or hard is it to find housing? I'll start with Walter. Your experience finding housing.
Yeah, actually, I took kind of the lazier approach with housing, and I actually did. I did university housing for all the years that I've been here. But university housing has been really convenient. It's always close proximity to the campus, and if it's a little bit farther away from campus, I think someone already mentioned that they have these trams that'll take you to campus. But for me, I'm actually right across the campus, right across the north of campus, and it's been really convenient, really easy for me to be able to find this housing. In terms of living expenses here, besides the rent that you pay towards USC housing, you have to pay like a little bit of money for your electricity bill. But with it comes with Wi-Fi, it comes with cable television, everything else you need. And in terms of other living expenses with food, I go grocery shopping, but at the same time, I also have a university dining plan. So I actually do eat at some of the on-campus dining halls because it's pretty convenient during the day just to get a bite there. Yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine you're already on campus, and you can get plenty of food to fill up at the dining halls. Sharon, maybe you can talk a little bit about your experience in finding housing, living expenses, and the like.
Yeah. So if you are not looking for university housing, there are like a lot of options as well. There are many housing rental services, I could say, or like there are places like Stuho and Newpack Apartments. They have like a website and everything where you can just look up floor plans and monthly rent and other utilities that they provide, and you can go for these options.
How did you find housing?
So I actually found housing on Newpack Apartments. I just went to newpack.com, and it was pretty much all done in like a day. And I also took the lazy approach. But if you actually look, you do get really great places to live. Like I knew a friend who found like somewhat like an Airbnb sort of situation, and the owner was willing to let him use his car as well. So it just goes to saying that if you look hard enough, you can pretty much find really amazing places to live. But then again, if you just want something convenient, I believe there are a lot of places in and around USC. There are really good student living options as well. There is Lorenzo, University Gateway. These all come with fully furnished rooms, and it's a really nice place to live. Apart from that, as much as expenses goes, your rent would probably be the majority of your expense while you're staying here. Food, there are like a lot of places to eat on campus, in and around campus, downtown, Santa Monica. Like there are so many restaurants. LA is like food heaven. And apart from that, any other expenses would be basically if you're traveling, if you want to go check out a place. Yeah, and if you are into any activities, just that additional expenses. But apart from that, it's okay. Yeah.
Okay. Why don't we go to Priyanka? If you can mention how you got housing, and then food options in LA in your experience.
Yeah, sure. I found my housing online before coming here. It's since that I had got my admits really very early, I had a lot of time in hand to, check out a lot of options and network with a lot of friends who had already got admits to USC, and all of us together, tried looking at different options, and whenever we came up with something convenient and good, we tried to discuss it amongst ourselves, and we zeroed in on one in just about a week or two's time. So yeah, so when you start early, you definitely have a lot of options to look into. So the best way is to definitely go online and look for them. I mean, yeah, there are a lot of housing companies that have the floor plans and the rental details and everything put up on their websites. But also you can also go onto the USC's Facebook pages, wherein people are graduating and leaving and kind of subleasing their spots. So that's one other option that you can look into, because that's one convenient way. The house is almost set up. There are already roommates in living there, so you just have to get in your commodities and move in. So that's one better way as well. So rent is definitely one of the major expenses that you'll have to meet. Depending on your convenience and budget, I would say the rents could be somewhere around 400 to 800 a month. Well, if you are taking a very furnished apartment, yes. And about the food, yeah, I'm an Indian girl, so I prefer cooking for myself than go out and eat every day. So yeah, I do not definitely want to shell out dollars on eating outside. So yeah.
Okay, that's great. Understandable. It's definitely more affordable if you know how to cook. That's a benefit. Sneha, how did you find your housing?
So I had a shift. So last semester I used to live very close to the campus, and I found that online. Just as the others mentioned, I kind of got together with a group of friends, and we just had to email the landlady, and she just set us up in about, I would say, 2 to 3 days. And once we got here, we finished the paperwork with our documents, and we were ready to move in just about an hour after we got here, so that wasn't a problem. I had to move downtown due to personal reasons this semester. Again, finding the spot was through a sublease, like Priyanka mentioned. One of my seniors was graduating, and she wanted to sublease her spot, so I took her spot here, and so I moved into an apartment downtown. And it's not too inconvenient for me, because there's the metro line which goes across Exposition, and it connects downtown and USC. So I take the train to USC. There's also a convenient, there's a bus service which is called the Dash service, and it's not too expensive. It's about 35 cents a ride. So and that runs from about I guess 6:30 in the morning all the way to 6:30 in the evening. So you could just take the Dash bus to class if you want to live in downtown. And regarding the expenses, I made my expenses because I have an on-campus job, and it's not too much of a big deal because I meet my expenses with my job. And with food, again, I go grocery shopping and I cook food at home, so I don't spend on eating out too much. But I eat out only when I'm bored or if I have to meet a couple of friends for dinner. But I think it's all of those expenses can still be met if you can just plan around your budget and allocate some money to it.
Thank you for answering. Okay, so I actually want to just talk about this and piggyback off of something that Priyanka had mentioned about the Facebook. So in previous years, we do have Facebook pages for admitted students that we invite newly admitted students to these pages, and they are able to interact with one another. We will be doing it for this crop for fall as well. So if you have not received an invite, you will be receiving one very soon. It's a closed group just for newly admitted students where you can interact with one another. So in the next week or two, we actually will have that open. But the previous year's groups, as Priyanka mentioned, those should be open, and you may be able to interact, if you want to try to hustle on that way. So I do want to mention that. Moving along, why don't we talk about jobs and experience with either on-campus jobs and then kind of shift over to career-wise, internship-wise as well. So in terms of on-campus jobs, I'm going to ask and go back if Sneha, you don't mind talking about your experience and how you got an on-campus job.
My job on campus is as a grader for one of the undergrad subjects in computer science, and last year I was a teaching assistant for an undergrad subject again. How I found them was I just spoke to a few professors before getting here, giving them details about what I've had experience with, what were my subjects that I completed during my undergrad, and for them to just know me better, and then we were kind of chatting about my skill set and my strengths, and I had conversations going on with about 4 professors, and then one of them actually invited me to help them with the course for an undergrad subject, and that's how I got to becoming a teaching assistant for one of the undergrad subjects. And doing that wasn't too hectic on my schedule either, because I just had to put in a few office hours through the week, and that would require me to be on campus and help students, and at the same time I also had to help with the assignments and grade them, and also help students with the assignments. And it's been an interesting experience for me because it's given me a lot more learning. I mean, trying to help other students has just increased my knowledge about that subject, and it's definitely been helpful. And I think a few of my other friends who are also doing on-campus jobs, they applied. So there's this fair which happens, which is for on-campus jobs. It happens at the start of the semester, every semester. You could just go in and give your resume or your profile to at different booths, and then you'd get calls for different opportunities. And definitely speaking to seniors who are already doing certain on-campus jobs, they could just put in a referral for you, and you could still get a job through them too. So there are like different opportunities available to get an on-campus job.
Okay, thank you for answering that. Want to shift now to internships. We actually have a couple students with internships, and I want to ask Sharon your experience, how you went about receiving the internship that you received, and where you are doing an internship.
Okay, so at the moment I'm actually calling from the office. So right now I am at my internship workspace. I am currently interning at Intel, and I'm working in San Francisco. So coming to internships, the career fairs are one of the most or one of the best networking events that you can probably have in order to get an internship. Apart from that, other ways would be to apply online, and my advice would be apply online as soon as possible. Also, reach out to recruiters on LinkedIn, and these would probably help you secure an internship. Apart from this, like for your internship, basically the only thing that they would require you to do is to see your resume, and you get an interview call within a couple of weeks. And after that, the internship interviews are comparatively easier compared to full-time interviews. So if you can secure an internship in a company, and there is high chances that you can get converted from an intern role to a full-time role. So make sure you give the internship search really good importance. Apart from that, yeah, that's it.
All right. Walter, can you tell us about the internship, how you obtained what you are doing?
Yeah, absolutely. Similar process. I applied through USC. I did a lot of networking when a lot of recruiters came during the fall for hiring, and so you go to a career fair and you hand them resumes, and then you apply online, and then at the USC Career Center they'll have interview time set up, and after a couple of rounds of interviews, you hopefully make it in to the company. I've done 2 internships so far. The last one that I had this previous summer was at PricewaterhouseCoopers, and that one was in management consultant. It's a job where you're kind of advising different executives on how to make the best decisions for their company. And I would say that even in that kind of job, I was dealing a lot with engineering, and one of my mentors was actually another computer science graduate student from USC. So it showed me that the Trojan network is everywhere in terms of careers, and you can really leverage that to move your career along. And really, I think that being at USC, one of the best things is that we have one of the best career fairs where you're able to get those opportunities to land any kind of internship you're looking for if you really go for it and you try hard enough.
All right, thank you, Walter. Marco, you're currently working. Maybe explain, what you're doing, and you're coming to campus, how you're getting here, and that sort of thing.
Okay. Yes. So in terms of work, I was fortunate that I have a family business that I'm working for. So we are structural concrete subcontractors, and so I am a project manager for them, and I run about 3 or 4 different projects at a time. And so I work, construction industry starts around 6:30 in the morning, 6 in the morning, and that usually runs until 4, 5 o'clock. So I work a full day. The days that I have class, which right now, again, so classes are in the evenings, at least for my program, the experience I've had, they're usually 3, 6 o'clock. And so I've been fortunate where most of my class has been in the evenings. And so on a day where I might have a 3 o'clock class, I might leave, an hour and a half early. So the traffic to get from San Diego to Los Angeles, which I'm a little unique, and then I commute from San Diego, about an hour and a half. So I have to plan that. But I'm sorry, what was the rest of the question?
Oh, just that. That was perfect. I just wanted to hear a little bit more about your experience working and what that's been like. I do actually want to move on and to the next question, and kind of shift gears and go back to talking about the program and courses, and how many units do graduate students usually take in a term? What is the maximum number of classes that you'd recommend for someone, and how you go about selecting your classes as well? Walter, if you can touch on your experience with that. And
yeah, during my first graduate semester, I went a little bit overboard, and I took I think I took four and a half classes, and that was way too much. So for everyone who's coming to USC, I would recommend probably taking probably 3 classes maximum, just because the workload in graduate classes here is pretty heavy, and I would say that if you to learn about to kind of get a better idea of what classes you should take, you should always talk to peers who've taken those similar classes before with those same professors, and ask questions about kind of what the style of the class is going to be like. You can even email the professor beforehand to have a little bit of a chat about what their course is like and what they're expecting for that semester, and you can also talk to your advisor about the course load and of a specific course. But I would say that if you also have to weigh kind of if you're taking a project-oriented course, or if you're taking a regular kind of testing style course. If you're taking a project course, those sometimes might take a little bit more time, so I would recommend you might only take one of those classes, and then take 2 test-based courses, because the project-based courses could get a little bit heavy. But really, it just comes down to the individual class, and I would recommend probably taking 3 classes a semester, which is around anywhere from 9 to 12 units, and taking a mix of 2 hard classes and 1 lighter class.
Okay, I'm going to throw this out to Priyanka. How many classes are you currently taking?
Oh yeah, this semester I'm doing 2 classes, which are 4 credits each, but they are super busy in their own ways, so that's the only reason I had to stick around to only 2 classes this semester. While the previous semester I had 3 classes that were 3 credits each, and I would definitely recommend to all the students to not take more than 9 credits a semester, because all the classes here in the graduate level are gonna keep you super busy, and they require a lot amount of work that goes into each of them. So yeah, as Walter mentioned, if they're a project-based course, they're going to be time-consuming, and you might have to put in a little more hours than what's recommended. So that might just take away a lot of time. And yeah, I would not recommend anybody taking more than 9 credits a semester.
Thank you very much, Priyanka. Okay, next question I'm actually going to ask is another one that came in. Basic question that we may not think about, but what type of laptop do you recommend? Mac or PC or partition Mac HD? Let me ask Sharon. What would your answer be to that if someone asked you?
A good question. So it comes down to what your preferences are. I know many people prefer Mac over Windows, and some people prefer Windows over Mac. So let me go about this question in a technical manner. Hopefully that helps. If you're into development and like coding for your CS courses, I would recommend a Mac or Linux system, because it's just easier to work with them. Windows can be a pain sometimes. Apart from that, every course there is going to be an option, like you can approach the course with either Windows or Mac, so you don't have to really have just one machine. But however, when I took the information retrieval course, I did notice that people who had a Mac system, for them it was in order to build their code, all they had to do is just type one command. But in Windows, you have to install like a bunch of additional softwares and everything. So it all comes down to you can have one laptop and you can still basically use virtual machines and get any operating system that you want. So in terms of what laptop you want, I think it's pretty much flexible. There's no specific need to get this laptop as such. But I do recommend a Mac.
Okay. Now, I'll throw this out to the group. Does anyone have anything else to add, personal preference-wise? I guess looks like maybe everyone is in agreement. So let's move on. Okay. I have a question, just kind of going through some of the questions. I think this is a good one. It's a little bit more on the general sense, but I would like to ask it and get an idea of your answers. What was your motivation and career aspirations for pursuing your graduate studies? And how has USC helped you meet those goals? So Marco, let me ask you that question and start.
Certainly. So my goal. So I do come from a small family business, and so we've been in construction in Southern California since 1957. And so my aspirations as going into hopefully taking over that company is, how do I make it grow? And so construction is always usually, I felt, been a trade where you kind of learn it, you're in the field. And now construction is so much more technical, and it's more of a science. And so you have these huge companies like Turner and Clark and Swinnerton. They all have all these, different programs and softwares that they're utilizing in their fields. And as a small little subcontractor, we don't really necessarily do that. And so for me, it's how can I apply these kind of principles and make our company more competitive, in terms of at my level. I would love to become a general contractor. I think that's the ultimate goal, to kind of be like a McCarthy or a Clark. And so USC and networking here, I've made a lot of actually business contacts from being a student here at USC. So just networking and trying to understand the science of construction.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for answering, Marco. Walter, I want to throw that one to you as well, if you don't mind answering that.
Yeah, I'm in a little bit of a special situation. I was here at USC for undergrad as well, so my graduate studies here were just an additional year beyond my undergrad in the special progressive degree program at USC. So one of my motivations was that the graduate program here for me was just one additional year, and I personally really wanted to learn more about the advanced topics that I didn't get to go into during my undergrad here. So and with signal processing for electrical engineering here at USC, there's so many amazing classes that you can take, ranging from speech recognition to machine learning that just weren't available at the undergrad level. And even though I see myself progressing my career in a direction that goes more towards business and kind of technology in the business sector, a lot of what I'm learning at USC at the graduate level applies a lot more directly to what can be utilized in the professional space.
Great, thanks, Walter. Priyanka, career aspirations for pursuing graduate studies and how USC hopefully helps meet your goals.
Yeah, sure. The one reason why I wanted to do my graduate studies is definitely because I wanted to specialize or get channelized from a broader perspective into one mainstream. That's one reason why I wanted to pursue my graduate studies. And I was an electrical engineer in my undergrads, and the academics from where I come from, was more often to all the machines and things like that. So I just wanted to, kind of switch over a little bit and get into the computer side of it. I mean, like a little bit of, IT side of it. So I just chose computer networking as my focus when I came here to USC. And when I was looking for good universities that offered good courses for networking, USC definitely was one of the best choices for that, because the networking courses provided here are like of a good variety. We have some really very basic courses that builds your that really helps you build a strong fundamentals required for the advanced courses. And then we move on to taking some, probability courses, and that just helps us get into the more of the randomnistic system behaviors. And then we have some really, we do have courses that, that go into wireless communications and mobile communications, and then some optic fiber communications. And, we have a lot of choices here. So yeah, USC being one of the best networking schools made me, go for it.
All right, thank you. I would love to ask the rest of the panel, but I noticed the time it's getting kind of close to the end, so I do want to move on. And I'm going to take this question and kind of twist it a little bit. Research opportunities, they ask specifically computer science master's student, but maybe just in general, your experience, if you can do research as a master's student, or if you know someone who's done research as well. I will start with one of our computer science students. I'll start with Sharon. And if you can talk a little bit about any research that you are familiar with.
Yeah. So coming to research, there are a lot of research assistant opportunities, and from personal experience, I was able to work as a graduate student researcher. I got this position by basically applying, replying to the emails from the CS jobs and internships mails that keep coming from. You can subscribe to them from the USC website. So what this is all the professors who are looking for student workers for research purposes. They usually send out emails saying that they have a position, and if you reply to this and you get like it's something like how you secure a job or internship. You have like a couple of interviews and you get in, then you can work on amazing projects. So I worked on this project wherein this was in the Department of Psychology, and they were trying to use machine learning to analyze how this can be applied in a psychology field. And I had an amazing opportunity working for this. I got to interact with really smart people. I was able to contribute to a project that published a lot of papers. And so my advice would be to keep an lookout for these. There are a lot of opportunities. You keep getting mails like every single day, and I urge you to reply to them. Don't ever hesitate to reply, no matter what it is. The first step is to just reply to these emails, and yeah.
Okay, that question same for, let's go with Walter. Any research experience that you're familiar with?
Yeah, so I personally did a little bit of research in the signal analysis and interpretation laboratory, and I found that position simply from a peer referral and someone who was already working at the lab, and they referred me to the professor, and I talked to him a little bit about my interest in kind of speech recognition area of electrical engineering, and so I did about a year of research over there. And it was a fantastic experience. But in terms of other people finding research, a lot of people have found research through the organization, the student organization that I'm in. So I was the former president of the IEEE branch here, and a large part of the student organization is dedicated towards finding students research positions. And a lot of my peers have been able to find research with professors in robotics, with professors in optical fibers, and so a lot of it is, I think, referrals from different peers, from peers who are already in labs, and then, of course, there's a directed research option that many professors teach that can kind of get you closer into that kind of research field and get you more familiar with different research projects that are happening here at USC.
Okay, great. That will ask one more question, and I want to ask Sneha, can students ask lecturers, faculty members, to explain specific topics of doubt which the student is not strong or has not understood well? Is that okay to ask in class, or is there another solution?
I think I'd say that a student should definitely approach a lecturer if they have questions about any topics that they have concerns with. And the best time to do that would be immediately after the lecture, because that is when the professor has, he's just taught the topic, and you could definitely go ahead and ask immediately after the lecture. And that sort of helps you understand that, because you've kind of learned about the topic right then, so it'd still be fresh in your mind. But apart from immediately after lecture hours, I think office hours and TA hours are best places to get your doubts clarified, because TAs are as good as professors, because they're very good and they're very strong with their concepts, and they'd be able to help you with any doubts that you have. Even if the professor is not available, you could still go to the TA's hours and get your doubts clarified.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. I'm going to conclude the broadcast now. We're actually running out of time. I do want to let everyone watching know this won't be the last opportunity to connect with us. We actually currently this week and some next week, you may have received emails about our department-specific webinars featuring our department advisors. So we have those going on through Adobe Connect. So if you have curriculum or course-specific questions, that's the forum that you can ask. A couple of those that are coming up, let's see, next week, April 12th for astronautical engineering, and then industrial and systems on April the 14th, and computer science will take place on April the 13th. So just keep that in mind, and again, you should have received emails about that. I want to thank each and every one of my panelists, Priyanka, Sneha, Sharon, Walter, and Marco, for joining and taking time out of your days today. Definitely appreciate you paying it forward and helping, these newly admitted students. Congratulations again to you newly admitted students. You are admitted, so we definitely want you to attend and appreciate the questions that you've asked for us. I want to thank my colleague Ray for helping me out with getting everything organized. And yeah, again, my name is William. Look forward to meeting you in the fall. If you do decide to come here, make sure to let us know by completing your intent to enroll form that is found online. So without further ado, I want to conclude this webinar and give a fight on to everyone out there. So take care, everyone, and fight on.